About supporting WordPress, and the subtitle is caring for your clients and community. And I'm curious, how many of you are freelance or with a company that you just kind of build sites, you take on clients? That's pretty much everybody. Is anybody here, you run like a network of sites, or you have a community and you're supporting that, a community, like an online community? Yeah? Cool. Okay. Well, my name is Mason James. And that's me. I lead the support team for a company called WordPress Dev, and we have over 150 individual products that we sell for WordPress. And we have a monthly subscription, and people come and they sign up, and they get to use our products, and that's all GPL, so they get to keep that. But they stick around because we provide ongoing support. We have anywhere, I think right now we have about 7,000 active members. And there's a team of 7 of us that support all of those guys 24/7, 365 days a year. So I've been doing that for a few years and have had the opportunity to spend a lot of time supporting kind of that's more of a network or a membership site, that kind of infrastructure, and working with the problems you have there. And then I also have my own company. It's called WordPress, and this actually came about. We just launched on Monday actually. And my partner Eric in this, and this company actually provides ongoing support and maintenance for regular clients. So we built on top of WordPress-specific hosting companies like WP Engine and PageMe. They take care of hosting, and then we provide the ongoing maintenance. And so this came about because I am also I was freelance for a couple of years, and this actually says developer, and I'm not a developer, what I found was that we would deliver a product and we'd give it to the client, and here you go, we worked so hard on this, and we fixed, we increased the font by 2 pixels because you asked us to, and we did everything you wanted, and you deliver it to them, it's perfect. And 6 months later, they're coming back to you going, well, comments are broken, or they're coming back and they're saying, well, my sidebar's gone. And you look and they installed 3 SEO plugins on their site. Why did you do that? So eventually, for me, I came to the spot where with clients, it was just too much. I was just spinning my wheels trying to keep previous clients running and also trying to bring in new work. And for me personally, I actually love the support end of it. I love keeping people up and running. I think I really enjoy both the educational part of that, of teaching someone, okay, maybe you don't want to do it that way, let's find better ways to do it. And just making sure things are running smoothly and finding how can we fine-tune our process to make what we do better and make this better for the customer. So I actually launched a service called WP, and that's what we do. We don't just provide the hosting, but we actually provide all of the updates for their plugins. It's kind of like for small businesses, you don't need a CTO anymore. We'll take care of that. We'll actually look into everything from the caching solutions to WordPress updates, plugin updates, theme updates, backups, security sweeps, everything. So that's what I do, and that has given me some. Here's the 2 websites. If you want to check them out, it's premium.wpmedia.org and wpvalley.com. So interestingly, kind of why I'm doing this, James Farmer, the CEO of WP Media, contacted me a few years ago, and I was a member of the site, and he said, we'd really like you, we're looking for a new developer, we'd like you to consider the position. I mean, I can write HTML, I can write CSS, I can copy and paste PHP pretty well. But that's like, it's kind of like reading another language. I kind of get that this paragraph is about going to the bathroom, but I don't really know anything else about it. And so I told him, I said, that's not really my thing. He said, well, no, we want you to give it a try. And he eventually convinced me, and there's a very simple plugin that they wanted me to develop, and I worked on it like 24/7 for like a week. And I did it. I was like, hey, it works, and it does it. And I sent it to him, and he said, whoa. They looked at the code and they're like, you can't do it that way. It works, but that's all we can say about it. So I didn't get it, and I was like, well, okay, that's no big deal. I told them I wasn't a developer. And, but I continued to participate, and it was probably a month later, they came back and said, well, look, we really like your communication, we really like just the help that you're doing. Would you consider coming on and being a support person, full-time support? And I signed on with them, and then here we are 2.5 years later, now we have a team of 7. And what's interesting is, I would say that support is probably the most important issue for anybody doing web stuff. Not only is it one of your biggest time sucks out of your day, but it's what keeps you coming back. And actually at WP Dev, we've moved from being a product company that delivers a product to a service company. Because, yeah, we deliver a product, but go ahead and just search WP Dev Premium free plugins. And you'll find people out there who have just taken them all and put them together and upload them for free. We can't do anything about that legally. What we can do is, thankfully, WordPress gets updated every quarter, and so the plugins have to be updated. And so if you want ongoing access and you want support on that, then you sign up and be a member. And so our company has really become very support-centric, and it works, and we're able to stay in business. So today, I'm going to be making a case for support, and then talking about how you find that pulse of your community. We'll go through some of the best tools for the job, and then we're going to talk about something I'm calling the importance of metrics. And normally, probably, I'm sure that you guys have all heard talks on metrics as it refers to like search engine optimization, Google Analytics, and that kind of stuff. We're going to talk about some support metrics and how you can actually tell if you're doing it support correctly. So number one, you must know why you are providing support. And truly, I say the only reason to be involved in support is because you have a passion for those people and a vision for the future, for their future. The reason it's called caring for your clients is if you don't care, it really will not be a fun thing for you. I think that's just kind of a life thing. You should do something that engages you as well as makes money. So if you don't care about your customers or community, that's when you call somebody else and have them do it for you. But if you are interested in it, then perfect, because there's some really awesome tools out there and some new stuff that is in the works that actually makes things a lot easier. So we're going to talk about a case for support. So this is what I was referring to before. Your long-term customers, that equals if you're a community network and you've got community members that have been around for a long time, that's a community that's going to last. And at the same time, it can be long-lasting revenue. So if you're doing support, doing it well, and you're handling your customers properly, obviously they're taking really good care of me. They're going to stick around. So just as part of a business plan, support makes a lot of sense. Then there's the idea of publicly available support. So if you were doing support in some way online and you have an online forum, you have a Q&A section, you have like a list of articles or screencasts, any of those different kinds of support, that is fantastic. Google loves it. Google's always looking for content-rich sources. And at WP Dev, our support forums have been supporting WordPress since 2007, 2008. So we have this fantastic history of answers to questions. And we get just as many signups just from people doing a Google search and finding our forums as we do from like actual advertising plans that we have. So, I mean, you have to start somewhere, but that's, if you're thinking about support and you're like, well, I don't really want to air the dirty laundry, and get it online, you can make some stuff private if you have to. But for us, just having all of that content out there has been extremely valuable. And it's free, you're doing something for the community at that point, because they don't have to sign up to get an answer. They're finding it, and they already find your site is valuable before they even started paying. So that says something about your company as well. So I really encourage you to do the publicly available support option. So the pulse of your community. In a community situation, it's a little bit different from clients. Communities have, they kind of have their own, their own persona, their own personality. And you'll find that if you have an online, you'll know like, wow, these guys are really fun, they're really silly, or they're really passionate about this topic. And sometimes that's because it's most communities outside of like a social network like Facebook, but like a community is niche-based. So it's based on a particular topic. You all like gardening or something like that, or you're all passionate about a specific football team, that kind of stuff. So a lot of times you'll find a personality that fits that, and it's really great as much as you can get to know that. The same way, if you know another person, you want to get to know that person. And how do you sort of judge their health? How do you know how well they're doing? Well, at the most basic level, you check their pulse. And so it's really important that you check the pulse of your community. If you're not engaged with your community, then the odds are it's not going to be successful. It's going to fall apart. So when you engage them, that can look like a ton of different things. Welcoming new people when they come in, showing them how they can get more involved, and answering any questions that they have. So if you've started an online network and you have a community and some people are there and it's getting some attention, but somebody signs up and they don't have a clue what to do when they first get there, their first few minutes on the site, then that's kind of a bummer. There's a lot of tools out there. I don't think I have it mentioned in this, but if you're doing something based on Buddypress, there's a fantastic plugin called the Buddypress Welcome Pack. And you can set up the first email that you send them. You can auto-invite them to a group. You can send them a friend request. Those are all things that get people go, ooh, wow, I got a friend request. I just signed up. And encourages them to get involved. Other ways you can do it are newsletters, community Q&A support is really cool, and then of course social media through the Twitter and Facebook and just getting people engaged. I think one of the things I heard and I actually wrote down from another talk was the idea of not just broadcasting but engaging your clients. You're not just saying, hey, we have a sale, hey, you should sign up, but actually whatever your community is about, saying stuff that's going to relate to them. So I thought that was really good. And then, as much as you're engaging, you need to listen. So you ask for their feedback. Find out how you're doing. You may think you're doing a fantastic job, and then you take your customer survey only to find out you really have missed the market. You've missed the ball in some area or another. Ask yourself what changes you can make to better the experience, and then respond immediately and honestly when there's a problem. Nobody's perfect. No company is perfect. And I've found that people are willing to, if you're just transparent, to go, we were doing this big update and yes, the site went down and it was down for 6 hours and we're really sorry. Just being transparent about it versus trying to cover it up, be like, oh no, there's no problem. Generally you get a better response from people that makes you seem more human, and you are. So that can work. One thing we do every year is we do a customer survey, and we just find out what do you want? We're a plugin development firm, so we're building plugins, but what plugins do people want? And when we see that, 80% of our people are saying, well, we need an e-commerce solution, we go, that's where we want to send our focus. And that works across any industry, finding out what your customers are interested in. It's good. And then this is a big one, use all types of media. That doesn't really go in this section necessarily, but it's really important because there are, I think, like 3 or 4 different learning styles. And when you're talking about supporting people, you are talking about educating them. So you want to hone in on that. Some people learn fantastically. You can even look in this room and see what people are what. But some people learn fantastically just with a visual. I just want to look at it, just let me see it, and I'll get it. They really like to read. Other people really like to listen. They really learn well auditorily. Some people really enjoy a video. And then other people are like, no, just let me do it. Give me step by step and just let me do it. So you have all of those different types of people, and that's the way they learn. So when you're writing your support documentation, when you're creating that content for them, you want to try to hit on all of those levels. If you've just got article after article after article, there's 3 other learning styles out there that you didn't hit. So it is important. It's time consuming. We're going to talk about that too, but it really is important that you have a variety of media types for your members. So let's get to that, the tools that we're going to use for this job. How are we going to do it? If we know we need to have all this engaging content, it needs to be public, it needs to be all these different learning styles, we need to be engaging them, and as a freelancer or as a part of a development firm and your client list has grown, how do you do that? How do you replicate yourself across that? And then if you're in a community, how do you do that? How do you keep your members happy and engaged? So the number one thing, huge thing that I'm a proponent of is real WordPress hosting. If you are not a server admin, then and I'm not, there's a crap ton of stuff that I just don't know. And I don't have time to know it. So finding people that do know it and do it really, really well is important. Advantages are WordPress updates, backups, security audits. This varies from person to person. There's 4 main players that I have some experience with right now. WP Engine, PageLead, Synthesis, which is the copy blogger, StudioPress folks, and then ZippyKit. So it's important to do your homework and find out the best one for your clients. They all do have differences, not just from pricing, but in what they offer. So I wouldn't say that any one company is right, across the spectrum, but they're all really good, and I think they're all here in some capacity this weekend. So find one of them and just sit down and talk to them if that's something you're interested in. At WP Dev, we have our own network called EduBlogs, and we have just I think we have about 1.2 million logs there. And the best thing that we ever did was hire server admins to just take care of that. Because that was a nightmare. And we actually have 2 full-time server admins that run that for us now. So hosting is a great one. And like I say, unless you are that guy, find someone else to be that guy for you. Then there's 2 open source products that are built on WordPress that are really fantastic. That's Buddypress and Buddypress. Buddypress is, I just said, native WordPress support forms. That's what they are. They're forms. I'm going to show you some actual pictures of how we do support on Dev in a bit, and it's all built on Buddypress. We don't use, now there's some fantastic stuff out there. There's Zendesk and Get Satisfaction, and there's some really great tools. We don't use them just because we iterated over time and been able to keep it on Buddypress and, well, not Buddypress, but Buddypress, and hope to get that out as an open source plugin for people at some point. Yes?
Can you repeat the other 2 options?
There's Zendesk. I mean, they're really good. There's no reason not to if you have the ability. Is good Zendesk, and then Get Satisfaction.
So what would you say is the difference between Buddypress and Zendesk?
Okay, so Zendesk is actually more of it does like a full ticketing system. So like somebody says, I need help with this, and then you have a staff, 3, 5, whatever, and one of them responds to it, and you can actually do it via email, and when that ticket's resolved, that their issue's been taken care of it, and then there's a record of it. Buddypress is just like a forum. So we've taken that and actually we've added to that a ticketing system, a resolution system, a notification system, and a lot of extra stuff that hopefully by the end of this year we're hoping to actually release, because I think it's pretty kick-ass. But
you're including remote desktop? No.
Well, what we have set up with is the ability to subscribe via email, so it does the email thing. We don't have email responses, and we don't have remote desktop abilities. That's not normally required for us, because most of our peak clients are working on servers, and well, I don't know how much I want to go into it, but because we have an API key, we can know what domains they have it on, and they can actually send us, we can actually get a cookie made for 24 hours and then get in, help them get out. So that's not incredibly useful for other people, but it works for us. And then Buddypress is the community software. I think they say it's like a social network in a box. And it really is awesome stuff. It's got membership profiles, activity streams, groups. It actually includes a copy of Buddypress inside it that runs the forums for it as well.
This is the new Buddypress. I think it was just released recently.
Yeah, well, I think I just heard from John James Code. They have like a version of Buddypress in it. 1.6 still isn't going to have the full latest version of Buddypress inside it, but that is on the schedule for this year.
Yeah.
So probably Buddypress 1.7. I think they'll have actually proper 2 separate plugins, the way Mother Nature intended. So, but those are totally free to get up and running. And like I said, even if when you get to the point where you need a whole ticketing solution, Zendesk may be the best option for you. But if you just need to get content, the other thing about Zendesk, you can do Zendesk like mapped to a subdomain or something like that. Like you can get it branded for your site. Yeah. So the nice thing about keeping the content on your site so that when people find it, they're already on your site. That's the main thing. So one of the issues that you're going to run into is the whole idea of you went through, you built this product, and now you've got all of your clients going, and you did all of these wonderful screenshots, you did all of these wonderful videos, and you really work on the voiceovers, and they're just the right amount of humor, and they're really educational, and they're perfect. And then WordPress 3.4 comes out, and they've moved this over here. And now all of your images are wrong, now all of your videos are out of date. Actually 3.4, it's not going to be that big of a deal, but specifically when I went from 3.1 to 3.2, suddenly we had like a network admin, we no longer had the super admin. They made, which is fun, totally cool. But all of that documentation now is no longer any good. So there are a few companies out there that actually assist with that, and you can actually look them up. There's Label Cms. Those guys have a plugin that lets you sort of rebrand WordPress to do your own thing. And they also have a pack of video tutorials. So like, your users are going to ask all kinds of things, right? They're never going to remember, how do I upload a picture when I haven't logged in a month, right? I wouldn't remember. So they provide those kinds of videos, the basic stuff of how how to post just how to post, how do you create a category, all of those things, and they provide those, and they update them every time there's a new version of WordPress. So that's another thing, just it takes that out of your hands immediately. That's not something you have to worry about anymore. Another thing that I do all the time is send people to WordPress.com's support. If you've never been to their support page, it's awesome. And it doesn't all apply to like hosting your own stuff, but a lot of it is really good and very well structured. It's a lot more for the end user than like the codex, which is more developer oriented. One of the things that we're going to do tomorrow, if you guys are around, they're having this whole like contribute to WordPress hackathon thing. And if you're a developer and you're ready and you're going to want to submit a patch and help out WordPress core, then that's awesome. If you're not, one of the awesome ways that you can contribute is through writing how-to articles for the codex. And so in that same room tomorrow, myself and Siobhan are going to be, she's actually speaking on Killer Dev Docs over in one of the other rooms. We're going to be hosting the same thing for anybody that would like to. I mean, it gets your name in there as a contributor, and it's just writing how-to docs for people. And other people come through and help with the editing, and that's open to anybody. You don't have to be. It's tomorrow during the contributing to WordPress part. I don't know the time. Maybe I have a schedule.
That's called contributing.
I think they're calling it contributing to WordPress. I think online it's called a hackathon. But we'll be around. Some of the core team is going to be there. Well, they said they will be as well from WordPress. 2 to 4? Probably. But one of our ideas that we'd like to do, the only reason I bring that up is because we'd like to actually, some of the ideas we've been talking about are getting actual WordPress screenshots of images as part of that would be reusable by everybody. So they could be hosting the images for you, and so when WordPress comes out with 3.5, and now the media library is something completely different, so you're just linking those images are updated, and you have your new images. So that's the kind of stuff that we'd like to see from a support standpoint get centralized, and it just has to be done. We need manpower for that. So anybody who's looking for a way to contribute tomorrow, come find us.
How often do you notice, so if you're saying you're supporting like 2,000 sites,
Yes.
and every time WordPress does an upgrade, do you just do one flat, like you contact all of them one by one and you're like, hey, WordPress just updated, you need to update your stuff. How do you know it's going to work with all their plugins? And
Right. Yeah.
We support 20 sites and it's already,
Yeah. Well, that's why I go with now. I go with a WordPress hosting company that actually does the updates for them. So, like Pagely, WP Engine.
We just started using Firehouse.
Okay.
When you say they do the updates for you, I mean, are they going to make sure everything functions afterwards? I mean, that's still on.
No,
on
that's
me.
still that's still on you, and that's why like finding a way to provide support for those clients is tricky.
We also have one client that has over 40 plugins.
Yeah.
Well, this morning, I have somewhere in my notes, somebody mentioned a program, I think you were there too, called WP Monitor, that goes through and updates them all at once.
Here we go.
I don't know those.
This is probably what Managed WP.
That's
those are the two.
Yeah. So these are the two that I actually use Managed WP myself. WP Remote is actually a newer one, and it's free. Which is kind of
WP Remote?
Yeah. So you can just Google search for that, and that's what it does. The difference between the two, Managed WP has been around for longer, and they just have. You'll install Managed WP on your sites, and then you have like one central dashboard, and it's just gorgeous. Like I get goosebumps just it's so fantastic. And you can pull up their Google Analytic information, like all of it. And they actually have Managed WP has the ability to just say update all the plugins. Now you're still going to run the issue of pressing that button and maybe everything explodes. I mean,
like
so you do backups?
Yeah, you should be doing. We do backups every 12 hours, and then additionally, like most of the time, these are my clients. I know what they're running. At some level, I did know what they were running, and so I try. I don't. We really stick away from doing anything that is going to be custom and may break something. You can't completely avoid it. WP Engine has a staging area, which is kind of cool. So that you can you just click a button, it makes a backup copy of the site on a staging area, and then you can actually run a practice update.
What's that called?
That's with WP Engine.
Okay.
I think it has a one-click backup.
Well,
It creates a beta, basically.
yeah, like it's I forget what they call it. It's like the snapshot feature of like, you know, on your hard drive, just like taking a snapshot. It just does that with the database and the file structure.
Yeah.
And yeah, if your website's WP Valet, it's just staging.wp Valet.
Yeah.
And you can go there and it's the exact same data, same, you know, file structure, all of that. Then you can run an update and see how it goes.
You mentioned you run, I'm managing 40 WordPress sites, or I should say 40 WordPress sites are managing me. If you've done it, you know what I mean. Is there any plugin or service that would go in and tell me everything in terms of plugins, themes, etc., that all might, like put it out as a spreadsheet or an online report, so you can get down the list and see that this site is running this, this, and this?
I don't.
If there isn't, there should be.
Yeah, so Manage WP gives you a list of what needs to be updated. I don't think it gives you a list, just a straight out list of everything installed on the sites. It may.
It's a plug-in for you if you want to do it.
Yeah, well, they have several different tiers that, you know, pricing, and depending on that you get different
pay for
features. But look into it. I would say look into it, and they're really cool guys. They've been doing this a while, and you know, if they don't have something you want, they send it.
In other words, give you a complete snapshot once a
Of
day
all of
of
them, yeah.
who's running what.
Yeah, yeah.
Because the advantage of that is, if I know that a particular plugin, like, you know, I'm hearing very bad things about Akismet lately, getting advice from a lot of people to get rid of it.
Okay.
I'd like to be able to see which one of the 40 is actually running Kismet, so I can go in and say, hey, you want to keep running that? At least you're an informed customer here. And if it breaks because of Kismet, please don't call me, you know?
Right, right. Well, what we do is any of the managed hosting solutions, PageLead, WP Engine, all of those guys, they actually have like a curated set of plugins that they provide by default. And actually, if they know that a plugin is not any good, they don't even allow you to install it. They have security sweeps in place. The Tim Thumb hack that was out last year.
How do you do that?
Sorry?
How do they block an installation of a plugin? That would be an interesting tool to have as well.
Yeah, I mean, they do that at the server level. So
Well, I have a
yeah,
server.
yeah. Well, they're here.
They create,
Yeah, because they'll even, but they do a lot. They have a partnership with Security, which does security sweeps and stuff. So they even have a service where if one of your users installed a theme that had a bad version of Tim Thumb, they automatically update it for you.
That's, yeah.
So, which is, I mean, nobody should use Tim Thumb, but people do. So,
yeah, Tim Thumb's been compromised quite a bit lately.
yeah. Well, there's better ways of doing it.
That was my act
And the
3 weeks
WP
ago.
Remote is really cool. It's a free option. It doesn't do the same. It doesn't do like update everything in one click, but it does take all of your sites, pull it together. And the way they both work is you install an actual plugin on all of your individual sites, and that plugin has the authority to act on your behalf and sort of log in, get the information, and then transmit it to you in a single dashboard. So that does give you like a global view of everything.
Can I ask you a question? Because I was using Managed WP for a while, but I was just wondering, what's the story with the security? Because I feel like a little concerned, like if I install the plugin and then it gives me like immediate access without having to log into those individual sites, is there some kind of security issue there at all?
No, I don't think so. Actually, just this week, WP Engine has like changed their security settings because they got hacked again, and stopped being popular. And and they're actually like starting to deny that kind of stuff, even though it's never been associated with a hack. The security is in place for that. They have they're using proper nonces, and then they have their own API that has to verify it. So I'm pretty confident in security, but it can be a little like, oh, you're.
It's an awesome tool though, so
It is. You know. It's a really a big time saver, and especially
So what you would do is you put WP Remote in each one of the sites that you host, and then you would basically have some sort of recognition thing or an API, and then you would put on your site, the company site, you would put it on there, and you would load, and you'd have a dashboard on your site for all their sites.
Correct. Yeah. And so you get to see everything. You know, like when I first started in like 2007, I was doing it on WordPress multi-site, which was WPMU. So I would build everybody's site as a sub-site, you know, of a WordPress network. I was like, yes, but now that WordPress multi-site is sort of in core, everybody wants one. So you either start getting something really complicated like a multi-network, which is not, this is not a good idea. So those are two tools. I just wanted to share, I'm almost out of time. Importance of metrics. So let's just shoot through this really quick. EduBlog started in 2007. We were initially completely free. In 2008, we said, hey, and it's a site for teachers and students. So teachers can come up and they can create a blog for each student in their classroom. And then their kids can write articles and they can comment on each other's blogs, and that's what it does. And in 2008, we decided to offer upgrades, saying, hey, if you like us and you'd like to support what we're doing, why not pay for your domain mapping or something like that? And we found that almost no one was interested in doing that. So in 2010, we came up with the idea of becoming a supporter, and a supporter gets more features than a free person. Still have the free level, you can do it, you can rock it out. But a supporter level gets the ability to sort of, we will go ahead and bulk create, if you have 3 classes and each of them have 30 kids, we'll bulk create all 90 blogs for you, get them set up for you, get them managed. And that was the supporter idea. And the reason we did that, and they pay for it, and they pay for extra space on the server for uploads and stuff like that. But that's what allows us to have our dedicated server admins and support staff. So any of those teachers can at any time, 24/7, send us an email and say help, and we pay people to help them. So it has been important for us to sort of go with that model, because otherwise we wouldn't be able to provide the valuable service that we do. And the same thing in Dev. Dev was actually built to support EduBlogs. We were building stuff on multi-site, and EduBlogs were becoming very popular, and people were saying, how did you do that? We want something. We want that. And so we started this company that built plugins for multi-site. And I kind of talked through all this, but in 2010, they brought me on full-time. I was the first staff person, and then today, 2 years later, we have 7 people on support staff. We do live Q&A, live chats, and really are focused more on the community aspect of things, because we've just come to realize with WordPress, it's really all about support. And if you can do it, if you can provide ongoing support, they're always going to need it. So it's worthwhile. So I just want to show you a couple things that we've done recently. We just relaunched WP with Dev. We have this new user dashboard, and again, this is Buddypress, so it's not anything different from that. So they get to log in, and we've tried to make it more community-centric, and so they have their picture, and they get to access some of their links and see their subscription information. And then on the far side there, they can see their recent activity and what's going on there. They can come and follow up on threads, and then they have their reputation. And so every time you post, you get a point. And I think that was just a Buddypress plugin. And so they get points by that, and they can accrue points. And it's just one of the ways we get people involved. We have different levels, so once you get to like 500 points,
How do you reach the mind-blowingly helpful number?
It's actually easier than you think.
It's like 10,000 points. Good job.
Yeah. And they can actually go see that. But what's fun is it also sends them, like if somebody can choose to gift you a point. So if you wrote something that really helped me, I can say, here's 10 points because I really appreciate it. Well, it sends you a nice email letting you know that someone did it, and you can log on. Well, that just encourages people to do that kind of thing. We have 7 people dedicated staff, but I will tell you 7's not enough. I think I have some stats on that, and the way we get around it is because we encourage members to participate. And so they're actually writing custom code for other members just because they want to, because they like being there, and they're troubleshooting something and they see it, and they're like, I can do that. So anytime you can do stuff like that, we build a community, and then this is kind of our internal stuff. So this is a sample thread, and all this stuff on the side. We have the ability they can choose the associated project. Well, that's just a Buddypress or a Buddypress tag. This was for membership. And we have all these awesome options. So Barry is the developer of this plugin, and I can notify him that this is a confirmed bug, or this is something's going on, or it's a feature request, or just that this is somebody who needs more feedback than I can provide. I can actually tag that and send him the information. And then we actually keep track of our stuff just from tags. So if you see down at the bottom, there's VGJA. Membership is because it's a membership plugin, and then MJ, and that's just our initials. And so I actually have just Google Reader, and I have several different tags that I follow. So somebody, and even if another support staff wants me in on something, they just tag it with my initials, and then I see it and I can respond. So it's really not anything like crazy. out there, but it works. Anything else I wanted to show you? Let me see what Mike's there. That's pretty much it. Questions? Yes, sir.
I'm curious how you're, I don't know, just internally, if you're developing plugins before you're releasing them, are you using the same tools like internally supporting each other or communication?
Gotcha. So we're actually, it's really interesting for us because everyone's remote. So I can't even have a time of day where I can bring my whole staff in because somebody's sleeping. And so what we've actually done is, for us, we partner one support person to one developer, and every 6 weeks they rotate. And so that gets kind of the community going within our company, because everybody's getting a little one-on-one time with somebody. And then if I'm attached to this developer, I'm kind of his second pair of eyes on things, and I do, and obviously we have a release program, whether it's a point release or just a point release. And if it's, if it's one adding new features and stuff, then, you get a couple of people to test it out on different environments. And we just have, an SVN repository we all have access to.
My question is, are you using the same tools to support internally that you are with customers, or do you have different?
No. I mean, internally we have a private P2 blog where we mostly handle all of our conversations. If you're doing stuff where you have people remotely engaged, the P2 theme is awesome, and you can just slap a privacy plugin on it, and then you have your own water cooler area. And that's about the extent of it. Because we have SVN for keeping track of changes and stuff, and then we're still pretty small in mindset. We've grown a lot, but we still have that kind of small thing where if I just have a problem, I just go bug the guy via email. So, and then the bottom stuff here, we're pretty well done, but just showing we actually track the forum posts. So those are just Buddypress posts. We actually track them, what time of day we get the most traffic, how fast we get to it. And then we also do the ability for, so this is what it looks like. It's a mess. But we can actually see the patterns of our staff when they're online and when they're posting and when they're not. And then on all of our stuff, our customers can give us feedback. So when we answer their question, they not only get to mark a result, but they can say, was this helpful to me or not? And if it wasn't helpful, we can ask them why and find out. So we can actually see if we have an issue. It's been really awesome. This is our ratings for the past month, and it's kind of cut off there, but our ratio, we're at 96% customer satisfaction. So that's great to know. You want to know how you're doing with that. And I mean, that's just tracking the posts and then providing opportunities for people to give feedback on it. So, any other questions? Yes, sir.
Great presentation, first of all.
Thank
you. When you said you've got about 7,000 users and later you have members, and then 7 people might not quite be enough, is the skill set of the 7 people, are they all equally prepared to support all 100 different plugins, or are there, because you're serving the needs of a lot of different people, do you think that, yeah, that's basically the essence.
Well, yeah, we have a big initial problem because we have such a wide variety of products. So training support staff is really difficult. So we do a lot of work before we bring someone in to sort of find out how good they are and how fast they're going to pick up and how much they like working 60 hours a week with only people complaining to them. It's a very rare breed of people who are just sort of masochists, but we love those. And yeah, so it's very difficult. We try to find people that are going to stick around. The level, because we do a rotation, they're not initially thrown into all 300 products that we offer. They're partnered with one developer, and they get to know that developer's products. And then over time, they're going to get more and more experience with all of them. So we try to phase them in a little bit, as much as we can. With that, it's still sink or swim a bit, but
we find that sometimes there's a disproportionate amount of support for plugins that don't necessarily have the widest use. Do you ever discontinue support for certain plugins?
We don't discontinue support, but we definitely, I mean, we also track how many support requests come in for a particular product. We built a membership plugin a year ago, and by far it had the most support requests. And it's also the most difficult type of plugin to support because they say, well, it's not working. How do I troubleshoot that other than logging in and seeing why they have rules set up wrong, or something, So we actually went back to the drawing board with a complete rewrite on the plugin, just because it was an incredible source of pain for support. And that's one of the great things to know is that, okay, we need to figure out a way to make this product better match what our users are expecting. But we definitely do. The more complex the plugin, the more it does, the more support requests you're going to have. And we have different levels in our support as well. So, like I said, people can tag me anytime and say, Mason, I've been working on this for a week. You know, you still don't know what's going on. So, because we spend all of our time online, we're always on IM, we're always talking, so it is a lot like being in an office. You know, I sit alone all day, I'm not lonely, you know, because we're all working together. So
Where is the company based?
The company headquarters is in Australia, and the LLC is actually registered here in the States. So, yes?
I just want to say, for anybody here who hasn't done the chat and like you guys do, how often do you do that?
At least once a day.
Yeah.
Several times a day normally, but maybe 2 months a day.
And it's awesome.
Yeah?
Yeah.
What is that? Tell us about it.
You go on and chat with developers.
It's a requirement for all of our staff that you host a chat session. At
And
least
the
once a
public's
week.
allowed in as well?
No, it's
No.
that's a members only.
Yeah, you gotta be members only.
And it's an hour, and it's whatever question you have.
For your peers, for your
Yeah.
group?
So and we have it published, like there's a calendar, so you can see like if you know like the membership plugin is by Barry, and you know an issue for that, you know when Barry's going to be available, and you can get right in there and chat. So cool.
I'm curious how you decided that, like what time and how to.
Based on when we see members are online, and then based on the schedule that because most everybody is a freelancer, you know, working for us, so we don't like to dictate hours to them. So we let them pick, and then kind of say, well, here's the times we need.
Okay.
Most of our traffic is based in the United States, so it's a lot of people like after work, after their regular work, they're doing more work. Excuse me. And so later in the Eastern Standard Time, like late in the evening, is when we're like super active. Anything else? Yeah.
Quick one more. So with all those plugins that you guys create and support, at any point did you don't do any premium plugin support? It's purely a subscription model to spread all the plugins. You don't differentiate on levels for any plugin within that.
No, we don't. The only difference in our plans is the amount of time you sign up for. And we say just like, you know, we can't charge like a credit card company or like a gym membership where you sign up for a year, or a cell phone where you sign a year contract. We can't do that internationally. Or we can't. Some companies probably can, but we can't. So instead, we give you a discount if you sign up for a year in advance. You know, so you're paying for your full year up front, but it's substantially reduced from what you would pay if you were paying month to month. There's no difference in the level of support that you really receive. And then we have several of our products are also have free versions on WordPress.org and that kind of thing that gives us some traffic. And we provide support there as well. That's why it's nice to have paid staff, because we can get on the free forums and also continually support our products there. So, yeah, I think that's good. Thanks, guys. Appreciate it.